Okay. Let's see if we're even live anymore. Don't even know. All right. Do we have Charlie in the room? We might. Um, try now. Hey, Charlie.
Hey,
Well, I restarted everything. I'm sure we lost everybody on the out there. Uh, I'm not hearing an echo yet.
okay.
I'm just waiting for the worst to happen. Yeah, yeah. This is horrible. I hear myself, but um, how about you? I
Yeah,
mean,
that's frustrating. Echoes are impossible to work. You know how it is. It's
yeah, I don't understand why it's doing it right now. There's no changes here that it's unexplainable is what I'm saying.
I understand the feeling when you've done nothing to the your system, but it's decided to change all the settings on you for some reason.
Yeah, and I did not do an update. There is an update available, and I never do updates right before the show. So I don't know what that's all
Me either.
about. Outcast is trying to come back in. Let's see if he's got it, and if let me see here, Outcast. If we get there, you are. Do you have a microphone? Yeah, I hear you.
Check, check. Oh my
We're
gosh.
we're just gonna go
Wow.
for it, brothers, and before we lose everything. All right, we're gonna pretend none of that happened, Charlie. How you doing?
I'm good. Good to see you guys.
Yeah,
It's
good to see you
stressful.
too, man. Talk about stress and a horrible situation. As we said before, you guys, our Charlie's book, "The Octopus of Global Control," is our item of the week. It's down there in the description, down in the link, and I should probably give you a proper. Let's do this. Let's give you a little proper type of an intro. How's that? We can at
Sure.
least try to get some of this properly. So, you guys, tonight we have um, Charlie Robinson. He's back on the show. His our affiliate item of the week is his book, "The Octopus of Global Control" by Charlie Robinson. Now, tonight, this is what I have up as a description. What happens when political influence, global finance, centralized power converge behind closed doors? Well, you're going to find out tonight as you join Charlie Robinson as he explores the history of the Rockefeller Center's legendary room 5600 and his connection to some of the most influential institutions of the modern era. You guys, it's wild. It's something that you did, an episode that you did a while back, Charlie, and I listened
Yeah.
to it. I got to tell you a little backstory. My daughter, she moved to New York City on the Christmas break, last Christmas break, because her job, the boss, the company was bought out, and they had to move from Hilton Head to New York City. Now, I don't know how you feel about New York City. I bet I can guess, but that was my first time there just a couple months ago, and I already knew about the Rockefellers and all that stuff that they have going on. And great, I just lost my mouse, so we're just gonna roll with it. And Charlie, it's your show today. It's your show tonight.
Well,
I'm gonna
it's
look for the
funny.
mouse.
The Rockefellers have this. Depending on what generation you're in, your view of the Rockefellers might change a little bit. If you're a baby boomer, then the Rockefellers built America, and they are above reproach, and you can't question their motives or anything like that. But for people who are starting to ask questions about the real founding fathers of the country and what they were up to, when they get to the Rockefellers, they find a very dangerous family that has had its tentacles in just about everything. And in that octopus book that I wrote in 2017, there's a quote in there. It's one of my favorite quotes in the book, and it's this from this guy John Francis Hyland. He's the mayor of New York City, and he's talking about this monster with its tentacles that are throughout the city, throughout the port, and the financial industry and the media and every aspect of big business. And he says, and to escape from mere generalizations, I'm talking about the Standard Oil octopus, and that was 1922. It was 100 years ago
Yeah.
when he said that, and so they had taken over a century ago. It was obvious to the mayor of New York City, who knew exactly what was going on. And then in the aftermath of that, that was 22. So that was before they started the Rockefeller Center, which they started in 33. They started that right when the same year as the Great Depression. And that became the biggest private construction project in the history of the United States.
Yeah.
It still is to this day. It's just massive. If you've been, New York, I mean, is one of those places where you need some time to explore it. I mean, there's so much to see, especially if you're somebody who knows a lot of the backstory about some of these global events. There's so many of them have happened in New York City, and you kind of want to do that. I had the benefit of going in 2023 to be a speaker at a 9/11 event in New York City. And the night before, we had dinner downtown, right by Wall Street, right by where the towers had been. And we had one of our friends who is a New York resident, has lived there his entire life, gave us a midnight guided tour of
Ooh.
the trade center area where it had been. Planes came this way, and this is where this one building was, and this is where this is where building 7 was. And so you're like, oh, okay, I get it. And so we walked around for like 2 hours, just doing that, trying to get our bearings on where things are. It's difficult now because, of course, there's one tower that looks like a giant syringe. So New York and the Rockefellers and the role that they've played in global events, of course, but American events and events happening in New York City, they really had an oversized influence in it. And anybody who's lived in New York City, or really anybody who's gone there on vacation, you've probably gone down Rockefeller Center Drive somewhere, or you've gone to the Rockefeller Building or 30 Rock. Everybody knows that's 30 Rockefeller Center. I mean, this is all these buildings are part of this big conglomerate. Some of them are Rockefeller buildings that have different names that you don't recognize. And so there's a lot of that as well. So there's this outright overt control through the Rockefeller name. And then there's this simultaneous covert influence that they have where they don't really want you to know what they're up to and what they're doing, because the whole point of their charity apparatus, this is a shield. It's a shield, and it came out of their Standard Oil monopoly breakup, and it's the same sort of thing that Meta was talking about doing, and Microsoft was talking about. Oh, if they break us up, we're gonna here's the strategy. You follow the Standard Oil practice of getting broken up into a bunch of smaller pieces, and those pieces become bigger than the sum of their parts. So it's been, this has been the way America has been run, unfortunately, and it's sad, but I think everybody needs to take a tour of New York City while you can. It's
While you
every
can.
time I go, it's less appealing than it was the time I was there last. So,
Outcast, I believe you were there a while back, weren't you?
Yeah, I've been to New York quite a bit for work purposes, and I've always said when I was younger, I was like when I was younger, I went there, I was like, wow, this is cool. I wouldn't mind living here. And then every time I went back, which was over dozens of times, I was just like, yeah, no, this isn't for me. There is when you talk to the people that live there on a regular basis, there's a depravity that will shock you. Sexual promiscuity with the people that was uncomfortable. There is. When I was there, it was probably the peak of when it was still good, and it's if to think that it's been getting worse every year totally makes sense to me. What gets me is how is it functioning like it is with I mean, what is the Rockefeller plan with Mondami? I mean, does he play into this? Is this part of the plan to collapse it, or how do you see it, Charlie?
well, it's funny, maybe not funny, but crazy that I've got an episode of Macroaggressions that'll be coming out pretty soon that talks about it talks about non-governmental organizations and charities that are running through New York City, and the healthcare giveaways. And between those three things, the NGOs that are working on social services and healthcare giveaways and immigration and education, air quotes, whatever that means, that accounts for 30% of the New York City economy. And 12% of that 13 comes from one program, and that one program is a make work nonsense program. It is a stay at home with your ailing family member program, and we'll pay you. And in 2014, there were 20,000 people on it.
Wow.
And Obama changed the laws on it. In the next year, it went from 20,000 to 60,000, and now it's at 600,000.
Whoa.
600,000 people are being paid to do nothing. It's 12% of New York City's economic activity.
So it's socialist.
And then 18% of it combined together to make a total of 30 is the 18% is NGOs, charities, healthcare, education, all that kind of gray area about social services and whatever that entails. So it's New York City is a scam. The economy is a scam. 30% of the economy is fake. It's fake. And so,
it's a paper tiger.
What happens when they turn it off? I mean, you can turn off the 12% immediately. You can say, this is crazy. Like, we can't be paying you guys to stay at home. This is clearly a scam. We're kicking everybody off. You're going to have to reapply individually, and we're going to send somebody to your house and make sure it's a real thing. I don't know. But like, you cannot have 600,000 people. That's filling the Rose Bowl 6 nights in a row to capacity with people that are all scamming New York City, not the world in general, but one city in one state. 620,000 people doing it. It is crazy, but I suppose the bright side is that it's fixable, right? Like, they didn't get hit by a meteor. They got hit by, maybe worse, socialism, but you can you can fix it. You can unscrew the situation by changing some of the policies. It'll take a while, but there has to be an appetite for it. Here's the thing that's crazy: there is no appetite to change it. They don't consider it to be a problem. This is the way it's been going for so long that if you were to actually inject like sanity into the equation, the entire city would collapse in a house of cards, because it is run by the craziest people doing insane things, and it somehow is all staying together. And God forbid you look at it funny. It feels like it will just all collapse because it's so flimsy. But that's where it is. That's the economics behind New York City, and that's just New York City. You can do that wherever. You can go to Seattle and Portland and San Francisco and Los Angeles and San Diego and wherever, anywhere where there's a Democratic mayor, you will find a similar thing where so much of this money, and then you have to ask the question, how much of it was USAID? How much of USAID was shaping the culture? How much of it was buying influence? How much of it was buying rap music placement on the charts because they stopped paying, and then all rap music fell off? How much of this society that we're living in is just completely artificial and constructed by the CIA? You know what I mean? You have to start asking these questions. So if USAID goes away and it did sort of, but I mean, I think that money finds its way back somehow. But if you were to turn these faucets off that are just draining resources, you could get somewhere. You could make some progress with it. So it's fixable, but man, you have people need to have the appetite to fix it. And I think if you're living in New York City, there's too many people benefiting from the way the system currently is to get anybody in there who will actually change it.
So, once again, can you link that to the Rockefellers? Is this part of their plan to as a test run for the rest of the country, or how would you look? How do you tie them in?
Really, so I'm writing a book on depopulation, and it'll be out on September 11th. And I'm not going to spoil it too much, but there's really two factions, right? There's this WASP, Rockefeller, English, Eastern establishment kind of crew. And then you've got a separate group who are the Sabbatean Frankists, the Jews, for lack of a better term, right? The diabolical group. And they want similar things in the way of eugenics, but the way they go about their business is different. The Rockefellers and that group, the Eastern establishment group, were more builders. And the Sabbatean Frankists are more destroyers of cultures, destroyers of cities. They're the ones that'll go in and clower and pivot it. They're the ones that any of these plans, the Kalergi plan, the Theodor Kaufman plan, the Louis Nazir plan, they're all written by Jews. It's a uniquely Jewish thing. You can say, oh, it's, you can't just blame them. Correct. You cannot just blame them, right? But the cultural destabilization, the immigration destabilization, that is uniquely a Jewish thing. That is their thing that they work on. So in terms of destabilizing New York City, that's actually not really the Rockefellers' thing. They're more builders of New York City. They'll build the apparatus. They're building the United Nations. They'll control you top down from a policy standpoint, whereas the Sabbatean Frankists will destroy your city from the ground up. So when you unleash them on a city, it kind of works like this. I mean, it's either way, and they'll come together and work together like they do from time to time, like on 9/11 or for any sort of depopulation agenda. But they have varying interests that sometimes don't work well together. They want different things, but the Rockefellers are. I mean, here's the problem with a lot of this is that the Rockefellers and the guys at the very top of this so-called pyramid were very intelligent. Their mental illness ran through as a thread that ran through all of these. A lot of them were clinically insane, but they were insane and they got things done and they were organized and obviously they were well financed, but they had a view of the world that was scientific in nature. I mean, they write books like Animal Farm for a reason. I mean, the way they saw the world was less diabolical, bloodthirsty, and like we've got to murder all these people. They were more like we have to manage the human farm. Okay, and so they set about thinking about it in a logical and methodical way. Awful, don't get me wrong, but they weren't. The Rockefeller faction is trying to manage it like the way you manage a business, and the Sabbatean Frankists are managing it like the way you manage a concentration camp or a prison. Like they do it with fear and so there's different tactics to achieve similar outcomes. I mean, ultimately, whether you're the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, whether you're a Christian, a Catholic, a Jew, whatever, once you get to the positions of high power, the same thought goes through their head. This world government business would be so much easier if it wasn't for all these people.
Yep.
And then they start saying, like, how do we get rid of all these people? So then the first step is, how do we get all these people that don't look like us? We'll get rid of them first, right? That makes sense, And then depending on how unhinged the leader is, Pol Pot, somebody like that, You get to the point where you lose sight of, you don't even know why you're killing people. You were killing intellectuals because they were a threat to the system, right? But then
Yeah.
you ran out of intellectuals and you started killing everybody who was wearing glasses because they just look smart. You know what I mean? Like you get to a point where you're like, what are we even doing here? And in the case of like the Khmer Rouge, they killed 25% of the population doing that. So some of this stuff I think is important for us to not dwell on, because it can be kind of dark, but like to understand the process, like how it works. Like you go, how did a lot of people go, how did the Nazis get all these people to feel the way they feel about it? Like they just wake up one day and everybody, you see, like when you examine history, how incremental, how it plays. And so I think it's important for us to understand that, like, a lot of this that's going on right now and the direction that we're headed, especially with something that the Rockefellers were deeply involved with, which is transhumanism. This is something that I think everybody needs to pay attention to. And you don't have to be somebody who's a so-called conspiracy theorist or something like that. You're hearing this term being thrown around and people don't know what it actually means. In the late 50s, the British Eugenics Society was having a really big problem with public relations. What with all the murdering and
Right.
whatnot, it comes with eugenics. Imagine that they were having bad PR, but the term eugenics had a lot of baggage. So Julian Huxley, brother of Aldous Huxley, grandson of Thomas Huxley, who was Darwin's guy, um, Julian Huxley says, I'm going to rebrand. We're going to come up with a new term, and it's not going to be eugenics anymore. From now on, we want to pick something that's kind of futuristic and sort of a little bit less, has less negativity assigned to it. And he came up with the term transhumanism. So transhumanism is eugenics. It's just a different name for it. And if you don't know that, then you think you've watched Elon Musk interview or something, or a Harari or Klaus Schwab, somebody at the World Economic Forum talking about the fourth industrial revolution, the blending of man with machine, into transhumanism. And you go, oh, that's amazing. We're going to have a chip in my head that'll give me, I don't know, infrared vision or something, or I'll get an arm if I lose it in a car accident. Like, yeah, maybe, but that's not what they're really talking about. What they're talking about is something else. They are talking about eugenics. They're talking about moving you into a different category on the animal farm. And in fact, we're in a place right now where we're getting into maybe the legality of what it means to be transhuman. Maybe if you've taken too many mRNA shots or you have a brain chip in, like at some point there's going to be a legal definition where some judge is going to say, you're only 3/5 human anymore, right? And so the laws don't apply to you. Like you're just no longer a person, and maybe you've got so many GMO seeds, so much GMO food in you that Monsanto files a patent infringement lawsuit against you and wants to take ownership of you. I mean, like think of it sounds crazy right now, right? But 30 years from now, after we've normalized that, and you start talking about maybe you're not human from a legal standpoint anymore. And so that's kind of where we are. I want people to know that like there's a group out there that has a plan for us. It's not great, but you don't have to be a part of it. But you got to get clear on the definitions, because transhumanism is a trap that people are getting set up to walk into, unfortunately.
Yeah, it makes total sense. Going along with what you just said there about ownership of humans, and during this whole scamdemic, when they were giving people those shots and all that, and people were accepting them, they're like happy to do it. Put it in my arm. Remember, we had those people, and to go along with that, there's something I remember back in my younger hunting days when. What was it? Yeah, there'd be a field next to this farm we used to hunt at, right? Another farmer's field. but they would have all these signs out there from what seeds are being planted, right? And these were GMO experimental type of seeds. And then, you move ahead in future a little bit. And I remember lawsuits coming. And when some seeds get blown by wind and end up in a farmer's field and end up growing over there, well, guess what? The farmer got sued because now all of a sudden the farmer was stealing Monsanto's technology. And Monsanto's winning all of these lawsuits against these farmers, putting them out of business. Now, I'm equating that exactly the same as these humans. Somehow along the line, we are having this technology in us, and all of a sudden, are we not properly composed as a human anymore? It's changed the DNA. We're getting into biblical stuff here, Charlie. And I can kind of see the correlation in my head right now. Maybe you guys cannot, but to me, it makes sense. You got the crops. It
makes sense.
The crops are getting crossed over by Monsanto stuff. Now humans are getting crossed over by Pfizer stuff and whatever, Moderna stuff, whatever it is. It's muddying up the DNA. And it's changing who people are.
And it depends on what you think DNA is. I mean, if it really is like an antenna system, you probably want to keep yours as clean as possible.
Yeah.
So that you can communicate with a higher self, a higher force, whatever it is. Since I want to err on the side of being optimistic here, I actually have two separate things I want to mention since we're talking about this that are solutions to two problems that we've talked about so far. And I found out about both of them. They happen to be my sponsors. I won't mention them because I'm not trying to give them a free plug. But one of my sponsors who makes green drinks and has like detox programs. He got hooked up with a guy who's a scientist, an agricultural scientist, and kind of specializing in water.
You can say it, Charlie. I know who you're talking about. You can mention them. You can say it here.
Okay, Chemical Free Body, and they've got this thing called the Water Hero. It's a water structuring device, and I had this, and I know Tim Jaymz, the owner, really well, but I had never met the scientist. And Tim told me, he's like, you got to have him on, like he'll blow your mind. So I was like, all right, cool. So he tells this story of how he was hired he's got this water structuring device that you can do for your own household water. I've got one in my house. But he was building them to go on outside water that sprays crops. And he's working with a farmer who's got a big field, and he's got a device on his water that helps to treat the soil. And Monsanto, coincidentally, rents, leases, has some sort of deal with him where he grows for on this farm that this guy's got he's got some licensing deal with Monsanto for whatever reason. He's growing seeds for them. Now, Joseph Johnson, the inventor of this water structuring device, says that after they got done with the grow season, Monsanto went to collect the seeds, and they were like, what do you want us to do with these? And they're like, well, I don't know. What do you mean? They're like, these seeds they don't have any Roundup in it. And they're supposed to have Roundup. Like, the reason why we're having you grow up, these are Roundup ready seeds. We need Roundup ready seeds. And so what you guys grew, you gave us seeds, but there's no Roundup in it. And that's what we need. So these seeds all have to go in the trash. But how did it happen? And Monsanto did an investigation to see how it happened. And it was from that water structuring device.
Wow.
The water was going into the soil, and it was taking the glyphosate out of the soil. That wasn't his words. It was Monsanto's words, right? So he's like, holy shit. Like, I'm sitting on, first of all, he was like, this is amazing. And then he was like, I'm going to get killed, as anybody would, sitting on a car that runs on water or whatever. And so, but he's got this amazing device. So there's a solution to that, which is great. And then on a second note, since I mentioned DNA being sort of like an antenna, I've been taking this product called C60, and I know the owner of this company. C60 is not it's a carbon molecule.
Yeah.
And they started a company that takes this, makes it into this oil, and you drink through it. I've been taking it for years and years. I've been giving it to my cats every morning. My cats line up every morning for it, right? But you never really know. Like, you don't know if it works, right? You think it works. And I trust Ken, the owner, and he told me the process one time. I couldn't understand it, but he explained it to me. And so, but you just don't know. But then 2 years ago, I had my certified health practitioner run a bunch of tests on me. And one of the tests that it did was DNA damage. And we reviewed my test on his podcast, and we're just going line by line. And we got down to the DNA damage, and he said to me, "This one's a weird one. This is your score is weird. I was feeling like maybe there's something wrong with the testing, because your score is so far off. It's so far in the green that it is. You can see on this bar chart, it's like quite literally off the charts. It's green, yellow, red, right? You want to obviously be in the green. It's so far in the green that it is off the charts." And he's like, "I was going to ask you about this. Do you have any idea what this might be?" I go, "It's probably the C60 I take every morning." He goes, "Oh my God, it probably is. I was thinking I was going to message the lab and ask them, if there was some sort of issue with their machine. I've never seen a score this low before." My DNA damage score was so low, it was off the charts. So again,
Wow.
that's a fixable thing. And I didn't mean to fix it. I didn't know it was fixing that. I knew it was doing something, but there was never any way for me to really quantify it until I did that test. And then I was like, "That's amazing." So look, if you want to clean your soul antenna, I'm
Yeah.
not saying get it from, get the right kind, but the carbon 60 molecule, just for people who don't know, was theorized in the 60s by Buckminster Fuller. It was discovered in the late 80s by a group of scientists. They won the Nobel Prize in Science for it. It's a carbon 60, it looks like a hollow soccer ball. And it's a free radical sponge. And it just kind of travels your body, and it finds like free radicals. It grabs them and it fixes them, and then it squirts them out. And then it just has it's the most powerful antioxidant known to mankind, like hundreds of times more powerful than anything else. So, like,
Yeah.
I've been taking it for years, and I didn't know it would do anything, but my cats definitely liked it. So, so again, it's like we've got problems. Like, there's for sure some things that we're facing, but we've also got some really interesting solutions. And there's some people who are working on things that are a little outside of the mainstream that are helpful in fighting back against this. I mean, I don't know that we can wake everybody up to what's going on, but if you can get you and your family and your listeners to know that there are some solutions out there for these issues that they face, then I think that we feel less helpless. And that's a good place to be. You put yourself a little bit in a better mindset when you're like, I'm doing something. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I'm working towards something. I'm trying to improve my health, or I'm trying to be proactive and get storable food, or whatever it is. You're doing something to try and make sure that you're not in a bad spot.
Man, I really like that. That's Outcast. We talk about parallel economies and creating things around us when things go bad. But, Charlie's onto another issue here with these solutions to big issues. And I'd like to talk to those guys too, Charlie, at some point. I have to get those numbers from you, those contacts. But I've heard of the C60, never took it. I've heard it, pop up on a few other podcasts. Guys talk about it just like you are. But some of the, I believe that the biggest issues we have that are put on us, there's always a solution to fix, change, repair what there is. There's a good and bad here on this earth, right? And we just have to know which ones are good, that can help reverse some of these issues that they're putting on us. I mean, we did a whole episode a few times on the guy that invented the water car, the water motor, and that they took him out. Right, because he was onto something. All these farmers pop up, running their tractors around on water and stuff. Well, they just end up dead all the time. The information is out there, but Outcast, he's got some good solutions here. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, Charlie, I love your intellect. I love the way you communicate. I'm riveted by everything you're saying. I'm a little refreshed. I would say refreshed is the right word. I'm encouraged to hear you use the DNA as an antenna because
Hmm.
even though I'm not as researched as you are, I have used that same exact analogy myself. You can go back to some of our earliest episodes because when I realized that they were trying to manipulate our DNA, I thought, okay, in my mind, I'm always looking through everything through a godlike filter. What's up with our DNA? And it dawned on me, like you said, that DNA strand that's unique to us is not only in our antenna and our ability to connect with God, the Creator, but it is also what is written on God's book of life. That's how He knows us. So that's the only reason I can think of that they'd want to corrupt it or change it. And then if you look at everything that they're trying to feed us, or like you said, the glyphosates and everything else, the processed food, spraying aluminums in the air, everything is designed to sever us and from that connection to God and to clog the pineal gland and stop that part of us from being connected as well. Like they are at war with the human body because our human health is what makes us spiritual beings and makes us connected to one another and the Creator. And I just know it in my guts, even though I'm not like a scientist or a researcher. I know that's what they're trying to do, and you kind of confirm that with this information. Now, not to get stuck in the macro or the micro, but I got to know more. Okay, so if I were to get carbon 60, how easy is it to
Yep.
get? Is that a health food store? Is some brands better than other? And then part two of this is I want to know, how are your cats reacting to it? How do they know it's good for them? I got to know a little more about those two
I don't
details.
know. I don't know how they know it's good for them, but they know it's good for them. And I'll tell you what my routine is. And this has been going on now for a while. I am a victim of my own situation. But it gives them energy. So I don't give it to them at night. I only give it to them in the morning. Well, they decided that the morning starts at 5 a.m. And I have three cats. Two of them want it. One of them just supervises and watches, but one of them is in charge of tapping my face to get me out of bed. And then I go and I give it to the first one, and then I give it to the second one, and then the third one just watches. And that's been the routine. And they're great. They know they know somehow it's good for them because it's not like it's candy. This one is avocado flavored, so I mean, I guess it tastes fine, but it's not like, I don't know, it's not designed to be pet friendly. It's designed to just, you kind of take it in a gulp, but they like it. And shopc60.com is where I get it. It's a small company. I mean, that's the company that I work with. I know the owner there. I know the CEO of it. They have me to their Christmas thing. It's a good team who comes. I'll put it to you this way. They know exactly what's going on. They are maybe the most red pilled management group I have ever seen of any company I've ever worked with. It's so incredibly based.
I
Does it
like
help
that.
with mental acuity, or is it more of a physical boost, or how do you explain it?
It takes out the trash in your cells. It helps your mitochondria be more high functioning. It gives you energy if you don't have it. It helps to clear kind of the corrosion inside your body. It's amazing. It's one of those things that it's sort of tough to measure. And I take a lot of supplements, so at some point you kind of go, is it this that's making me feel good, or is it that? Maybe it's a combination of all of them. I'm taking them all, so I don't know whether it's this or that. But I know that it's part of my routine, has been for years. And then that one accidental moment when I kind of discovered and was able to measure the results of it, and then I thought, oh, this is great. So I think that, if you've got an aging pet, and we all do, you might want to think about that. Dogs, cats, I mean, your dog will, but definitely read up about it. It's expensive, it's not cheap. But can the scientist, the founder of the company, once explained to me the process, that of how they make it. That's Ken on the right. How they make it. And then I was like, oh, well, yeah, that does sound expensive. So it's not something where they're like out buying Lamborghinis or anything like that. I think it really is like a complicated process if you want to do it right. And Ken is a nuclear scientist. And what happened was that in working in nuclear science, there aren't a lot of old timers. You don't make it
Yeah.
too long, and you work on that stuff, and you just kind of die. And what they found was that I guess some Japanese doctor, I don't know, somebody was working with it and was having someone was working with C60 and was not having issues. They tested it on rats. The rats didn't die when they zapped them with cancer, and they went, "Wow, this is cool." So Ken examined it, and he's been doing it for the last, I don't know, 15 years or so. And yeah, so I'm happy to put people. The thing I, I'm every year I go to Anarchapulco, the largest anarchist conference in the world, over in Mexico, and I'm the MC. It's a 5-day event, and one of the it's not broken up necessarily by days anymore, but one of the days, so to speak, is health. And what I've kind of come to understand is that the most anarchist thing you can do is to take care of your health. To get yourself out of that system, to out of the big pharma system, and not be dependent on them for pills or doctor's visits or whatever it is. Oh, yeah, you break your leg, you want to go see that's fine, but they're not great for healthcare. They're sick care, and they have a very bad. They have a different um, purpose for existing. So I think that for people, take control of your own health. That's the best thing you can do, and in doing that, you're making yourself less dependent on the state and all the things that come along with that. So,
Hmm.
You go ahead, Outcast.
No, I just feel it's very affirming. I used to be, listen to a lot of anarchist punk bands like Crass and Conflict and stuff like that from the UK back in the 80s. And I've always had my roots in that kind of freedom thinking, kind of what's make me attracted to patriotism in a way is constitutionalism, is that it's the closest thing to anarchy, with just having enough rules so we don't throw poop at each other. That's the idea of it, but it's gotten out of hand. But the other part of it is I've organically, just naturally went towards supplements and or holistic health myself. It's just like you said. I mean, everything you're saying, it resonates with me. I just moved in that direction especially since COVID. It's just like I don't want anything to do with their sick care. I want to take control of my health, and I associate my health with my spiritual connectivity to God. So I just throwing that in the hopper.
Yeah.
Everything you say just resonates with me. It's amazing, Charlie. You're a blessing to have on the show. Thank you for your inputs.
Thank you. Let's bring it back to where we started from. Rockefellers.
Mm-hmm.
Who created Big Pharma? The Rockefellers. Who created the pharmaceutical industry? The concept of it. This is petroleum-based products. Who created medical schools? The Rockefellers, through the 1910 Flexner Report. So they control the apparatus. There used to be a time when holistic doctors, I'm sure you had a hard time finding a good one, right? I mean, they don't get any support. They don't take insurance. They can't. They're treated like lepers. I mean, but that's all by design. The Rockefellers did that. They made it so that chiropractors and naturopaths and all these people were whack-like status, and by controlling the credentials of the medical industry and making sure you say, well, this person is a doctor, but that person isn't, and then once you go through that medical system, then controlling the licensing, and you have your grip on it, so that if they don't get on board with the way that you sell the medical treatment system of using allopathic medicine to do that, you won't be around for very long. They'll just get rid of you. So this is it's funny that we sort of wind up talking about health, and then you find out the biggest hurdle to health is, here we go again, the Rockefellers and what they've done. And they want you sick,
Mm-hmm.
independent on that system for a long time, for a variety of reasons. One, they make money from you, but also if you're sick, you're not a threat. to them, sick people don't rise up. Sick people don't get out in the streets. They're too sick to do that. They're just focusing on, so you can demoralize and control a segment of society just by making them sick and then making another group of people dependent on them. And then if you're in New York City, you can start a BS program and pay one group to watch the other group. Make the taxpayers pay for it all. It's great. It's great.
Yeah.
Scam.
It is wild, Charlie. It's going back to the beginning of the show. I told you about my youngest daughter. She's there now. She started working in New York City February, and I believe we were there in March. Is that right, Outcast? You remember I was away for a few. Walked all over the place, Charlie. It's a place I never really cared to visit, but I thought I would not like it, or hate it worse. But with her being there, we had to go, and we will go again. Once she's done in that city, we'll probably never be back. But going into the city and this whole trip that we undertook, I knew all about the Rockefeller stuff. I knew about 30 Rock in the all the evil stuff that goes on there in those different areas. And I had my guard up the whole time when we were walking around the streets. I never really found a friendly person on the sidewalks. I passed 10 to 15 million people by noon every day. It's insane over there. And the car horns, that's never ending. It's like birds singing here. It's just car horns nonstop. Right. And I met people inside these shops, restaurants, whatever, and they're friendly. As soon as you come back outside, they're not friendly at all. And when we went by the Rockefeller Center and, where the ice rink is and all that in the wintertime, and they had Prometheus up on the wall in all golden stuff, and all these figures and statues, all these, what is it, Apollonic, figures that are all over the place. And I just felt totally creeped out, knowing about the United Nations building is not too far away, and that whole thing. So I was taking videos and taking pictures and trying to tell people, hey, you guys don't know about this, but I couldn't tell anybody because it's all normies everywhere. But I was thinking about you guys when I was walking through and taking video and stuff, and I can only get this far with the wife and kids before they stop seeing that stuff. Well, you know what I mean? It gets wild, but it was a crazy experience going through there and walking through all that stuff and being there live in person. But I don't know. I want to talk to you a little bit more about something else here in a minute. But do you have anything to throw on that? Either one of you guys?
We'll let you move on.
All right. So this weekend, and you let us know whenever you have to go, Charlie. This weekend, I know that you lived in Las Vegas for a bit, and I was there just this weekend. That's why the show was on Tuesday instead of Monday, because we got home last night. And I got to tell you guys, I was going to say this in the beginning and before all those tech problems, but Charlie, if you turn on your oven, 350 in the middle of summer in the house, right? And you open the door and stand in front of it. 15 minutes. That is nothing compared to the heat in Las Vegas. I can't believe people live there. I can't believe it. Outcast, I don't know if you've ever been there, but it's completely mind-blowing. And today here in Michigan, it was 97 degrees, and it wasn't as bad. We were over 100. It was 111 the other day when we were there, and we were walking. We're just tourists walking all around like a bunch of normies. But I'm telling you, the pavement up to my knees, because we're wearing shorts, like my calves and shins never felt that intense heat just walking around. It's crazy. I don't know how people live there.
I lived there for 10 years, and I grew up in a place that's even hotter than Las Vegas. I grew up in Palm Springs, which is about 10 degrees hotter during the summer than Las Vegas. You know how in Anchorage in the winter, people, if they go to the grocery store, they just leave their car running, and it's just sort of like the honor code. You're not going to mess with it. Yep. In Palm Springs during the summer, if you go to the grocery store, it's the same sort of thing. Like the car is just running. You're not going to turn your car off. You're not going to turn your air conditioning off. It's 122 degrees outside. So it doesn't bother me as much as cold weather does, because I'm from the desert. But there's nothing worse than losing a bunch of money in Las Vegas and then going out and walking out of the casino into a hairdryer It hits you right in the face, and you have to go contemplate your life decisions.
Well, we were, I was the whole time, there was a group of 6 of us there, and I kept making the joke, well, it's just a dry heat, even though we're all dying, it's just a dry heat. You wouldn't understand. I can't believe the heat though. It's just completely insane. It is dry, yes, but it is deadly. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. That now I know why people landscape with rocks and cactus, because grass has no chance there. Grass has no chance. It's just wild.
If you fly into Vegas and you go over the Hoover Dam and you go over Lake Mead, you'll see the sediment layer where how far the water level has dropped over the years. It's really alarming, quite alarming.
Yeah.
And Las Vegas has it's a bad water deal. They sold a lot of the rights to California on a 100-year lease.
Well, that water gets diverted, right?
It gets diverted. Yeah, it goes through Nevada, but it's not theirs. So, but that's a problem that they've always figured they will fix. I mean, the problem Las Vegas is facing now more so than anything is that they have overpriced everybody. I mean, there's a demographic shift where the boomers who used to love to sit down and park themselves in front of a slot machine for 5 hours straight, like they were watching Fox News or MSNBC, they're gone. Like they're aging out, and now you've got a whole generation of people who don't drink. And the casinos are trying to figure, and they don't gamble. The casinos are trying to figure out, like, what do we do to get these people in here? Like, all right, well, we'll have like a rave. It's like, all right, well, how many $12 waters are you going to sell? Like, you need people to play Baccarat. And that's not going to be this group. And so, and couple that with the fact that all the big casinos and hotels in Vegas have sold out to private equity if they weren't already publicly traded.
Yeah.
There's massive financial pressure, ticking time bombs that's causing Vegas to have to increase prices of everything. I mean, you messaged me saying that you were right by the Sphere, right? You saw it.
I was in it. Yeah, we were in it.
Yeah, that's a remarkable. I remember watching that getting built out there. It's an amazing piece of technology. Might be the coolest concert venue in the world, frankly.
Yeah.
With the technology there, I saw U2 a couple of years ago when they were there. It's phenomenal. But the era of infinite building in Las Vegas is over. I think that there's no more appetite for it. So, and it's one thing, during the summer, people will go, well, it's hot. Nobody wants to go there during the summer when it's hot. It's like people are out of school. They want to go there during the summer. That's not entirely true. I lived there for 10 years. People are there during the summer all the time. It might not be as busy, but it's not at 100% capacity. It's at 93% capacity.
It was packed. There was definitely people everywhere. I was having a great time.
Everywhere. They're still gambling.
Yeah, they're still gambling. There is definitely a demographic shift. I can see that because I was there 18 years ago for my brother-in-law's birthday, before kids and all that stuff. But I'm not a big gambler. I didn't gamble at all this time, so I didn't lose any money. But we did see Kenny Chesney in the Sphere. If you guys have a chance to go there in that Sphere for your favorite band, Metallica's coming for the next, I don't know, 2-3 months or whatever. But they mix in a lot of other people too. And I would suggest whenever your favorite band, you guys, or somebody you like is going to be playing there, go watch it. Because it's an experience different than any other concert of your same favorite person that you've seen in the past. Outcast, it's wild. So I would suggest do that. The technology though, it is a bit frightening to think about. It's presented in a beautiful package though with this building, but I don't know where that building has got to be wired up so much with EMFs and just frequencies, just the way it runs like an efficient machine when you're in there. It feels like you're in the Firmament Dome, Outcast, in what's all those movies, and they shoot arrows at the screen. You can see the grid up there and all that stuff.
Hunger Games,
all of that stuff. Even Truman Show. It's that's what you feel like you're in. but it is the best
Totally.
experience to watch your favorite artist. I just do it at some point, you guys. I would suggest that. I wanted to ask you, unless you have something, Outcast.
No, I was just going to talk about some of my observations of Vegas when I've been there plenty.
Okay, throw one in there because I got something.
I don't know how I won't. I'll try not to beleaguer anything because I know that we got other things to talk about. But the first time I went there, I was a young punk kid, and I had a job in sales where I got sent to Vegas to work at a trade booth. And I went there many times, and later in life too for work purposes. And the first time I went there, I was like, I don't care about Elvis. I don't gamble. I don't really care about going to Vegas. I just didn't care. But then I got there, and at 25 years old, I was overwhelmed by the lights and the whole atmosphere. I was like, wow, this is amazing. I really like this, And then each time I went and I had a different experience. And then one of the last times I went there, I remember I was looking around and I saw all these senior citizens with cigarettes hanging out of their mouth, pulling the slot machines, and I was like, this is horrible. Of all the ways I want to spend my retirement, this would not be it. This is it was just like I saw Heartbreak City there. Another funny thing too is every time I went there, I saw a low-level celebrity walking around. So Dick Clark, he just walked by me one day. I was in line next to the one-armed drummer from Def Leppard. Yeah. I saw the singer of Quiet Riot in the old town walking around. I saw just like every time I went there, I saw somebody like that. And I was just like, oh, check it out. It's Elton from Murphy Brown. It's like low-level celebrities wandering around. It's a very bizarre place. One time I went with some friends. We went out to the Valley of Fire, which is surreal. And it's these red rock formations. And I just remember it was so hot, like you said, Jesse. At one point, we spit on the ground and it sizzled. And then a little lizard came out and started licking our spit. That's how dry it was out there. So anyways, just some random thoughts about Vegas. I've been there a bunch. And when I was younger, I thought it was pretty cool and exciting, even though I didn't think I was going to like it. And then later in life, I was like, this is sad. Get me out of this place. This is the most broken place on the earth, So I just had to throw that.
It depends on what you make of it. You can definitely have that depressing experience where you see old people sitting at the slot machines. I had a funny one where I was living there, but I had a work related thing. I had to go to Circus and pick somebody up, and I was waiting for this guy kind of outside by the front, and there are these two clowns that were clearly like on their cigarette break, and they were like off to the side, and they were having normal conversations like, hey, what's up, Bob? Hey, Steve, what's going on? And they're smoking, and I was like, and it was 8 a.m. I was like, I feel like I'm on drugs. I need to get out of here. Like, where's this guy? This guy comes out. I'm like, let's go. Why are you staying at Circus? He was from China. He didn't know where to stay.
That's funny.
Don't stay here next time. This place is weird. So it's all what you make of it. Vegas can be a very, you can have a fear and loathing in Las Vegas experiment sort of weekend if you want, where everything is crazy, or you can, you can just go shopping. If you're somebody who just likes to spend money on shopping, they got great malls there. So there's all of that. They'll find a way to take your money. They're good at that.
What I really enjoyed while we were there was walking through. Let me see. We weren't too far from. We were right by where we stayed. Is right by the Sphere, but across the street is the Venetian, which is a beautiful. It's my favorite place. Right, the Venetian. Just walking through the marble hallways, and it connects to like the next 3 or 4 or 5 casinos down without going outside. So what we did, we ended up going through all those shops like you're talking about. It's got the little Venice, Italy inside there. It's called the St. Mark's Square inside there. So it's a whole new, its own world inside these casinos, without having to go into gamble. Like I said, I didn't spend $1 on gambling. I wasn't interested in it, but I had a great time spending money on espressos and coffees. I get $22 martinis, you guys. It was crazy, but they're really, really good. So we did, that was one thing. We made every day a point to go find the next best coffee espresso place. There was a place called a Prohibition 1930 or 26 little speakeasy kind of thing. Oh, they had the best espresso drinks, and they had a selection of old fashions. Oh, I'll go back to those. That was great. Just to see the things and see the performers and see what they're doing. Yeah, I know all about Sin City and all that stuff, and the way it was started is very interesting to me. The way that, who thought of building something, a city or a house or in the middle of the desert where there's nobody? Well, there's a reason why they did it, you guys. There's a very anti-government, anti-establishment reason why they did it, and I can understand it. Why, go back in time, and I was like, yeah. If that was me living that life, I would do the same thing. Get away from all the fed, the eyes of the feds, and just start your own city. But that's completely not the same anymore. That's Fed Central now. So I had a great time. The heat was killing me, but I had a great time there in Vegas. Yeah, I'm just kind of looking at all these things right here. But yeah, there's the food, the shopping. If you're into whatever you're into, they have it there. You got
go for a concert. That's what a lot of people go for a concert. Go for a Vegas Golden Knights game. Go for whatever. They're going to have the Oakland A's here pretty soon.
Another dome thing, a clear dome on their baseball field. You guys, they're like, I don't know if it's halfway, but I can see the formation of what they're building as a dome. It's there's cranes all over the place, but it's going to be cool when it's done.
That's the Nevada state bird. Is the crane.
Yeah.
That's what we always say. I worked in real estate for 10 years down there. I mean, and I've sold high-rise condos and mid-rise condos and single-family homes and watched that place go up and watch it change. And even before I lived there, going there as like a 18, 19-year-old, back the way it used to be, it makes you a little nostalgic for the good old days. That's the most radicalizing force right now, I think, for all of us. When you go on social media, nostalgia. Yeah. Oh my gosh, it makes me angry. To see how things were back whenever, or just remembering, the way it was in the early '90s, or something like. I'm not even talking like 100 years ago. I'm talking about like when you were in your late teens or something. You remember like, oh, it's not that anymore. Even like since we're mentioning Vegas, like sitting there playing $1, $2, $5 blackjack. Those days are gone. Getting free drinks while you're just trying to grind away and hang in long enough so that the cocktail waitress will make another lap so you can get a tiny little Jack and Coke that you're going to suck down in 2 minutes. Those days are gone. They don't exist anymore, and that's kind of radicalizing in a way, because you remember that it used to be like that, and that it's not now, and you kind of. You kind of start thinking, well, how did it get this way? And can we undo it? Can we go back to those old days? Not necessarily the Jack and Cokes, but you know what I mean? Before
the freedom.
Everything was just about draining you of every last dollar in your pocket. Like they wanted you to also have an experience. So you'd keep coming back over and over and over again. Now, what experience are people getting? Are they getting a life-changing experience that makes them want to keep coming back? Or do they check out and realize they've been charged $14 for a water, or that they moved something in their fridge in their room and the laser charged them for it because they moved a pack of peanuts, and now you know what I mean? Something, it's like you wind up leaving your Vegas trip frustrated, like you got nickel and dimed on $20 resort fees every day and $18 Ruffles potato chip bags in your room, and you're just like, well, I don't think I really want to do this anymore. I don't feel like I'm being valued as a human being, but like even as a customer, I feel like I'm being gouged, and Vegas is not doing themselves any favors. So I don't know. It's their problem, not mine anymore. And they frankly have nobody to blame but themselves. They got very distracted and focused on like the whale customer, the big player, and they forgot about the families, and they forgot about young people, and they lost sight of a lot of it. And there'll be some going out of business sales there pretty soon.
I was lucky. We were able to find some locals, a local restaurant, and a local party store, and a local I'll call it a bar, but it was a little casino, little tiny thing. $3 beers. It was like normal. It was like being at home, right? It wasn't the $20 stuff. You might have heard of Batista's, that little Italian. That Italian restaurant.
Well, free wine right behind Paris, right behind Bally's, right kind of tucked in behind there. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Great place. We went there a few times, talked to a guy. Well, it was been there since 1970, I believe. Outcast. It's still
I've
the
been going
same.
there since 1992 was the first time I've been to Batista's.
It has not changed. Every picture that's on the wall. I mean, it's when you think authentic Italian food, that's what this is. And our waiter, awesome guy. His name was Andy, older guy from where's he from? From Poland, Bulgaria, somewhere over there. But he got caught up in that whole thing in the '90s with Bill Clinton, and he had information. You know, he had one of the. He was in the military. I guess all guys at that age were forced in the military. In the '90s, he was brought here in exchange for information that he gave to the administration for Bill Clinton, and he's been here ever since. And he was telling us some stories about how the Bolsheviks came in, did what they did, and we got into the whole Lewinsky. I mean, this guy was a wealth of information. I invited him to come on our show, Outcast, but he's like, I can't do it. I can't do it. He left. He had to leave his whole family there. Everybody, they were all communist, and he didn't like it. He hated what was going on. And I asked him, I said, hey, what kind of communists were they? I said, well, these are the Bolsheviks. And then he went crazy. He's got a really deep accent, but he's a very light talking guy. And he's in a restaurant serving us the best food. He's got the greatest stories. I'm telling you guys, he's probably almost 70 right now. Very soft spoken guy. And when he gets fired up, he'll let you know, because he started, he really enjoyed our table. There were 6 of us, 3 couples. And because we enjoyed him and everything he was doing, it was just laid out like a Italian family would. And he knows everything. There's original recipes from the original owner. I would go there again. And the prices are not insane. They're just like they are here at home. They didn't cower down to that. Whatever today is, but there's pockets of local still there, and that we found a lot of that, and I enjoy.
They want that real estate so bad that restaurant is sitting on. They've been trying to buy that from that family for so long because it is extremely valuable.
It is. It's like remember, the last holdout in the big sea of towers. There's that one little house. That's what this place is. Yeah. It's so cool.
It's just on the backside of Las Vegas Boulevard. It's Las Vegas and Flamingo, right on the back to the east side of that. Yeah, it's You find those little hole in the wall places, and you feel like you found something special. I was in Cosmopolitan, which is not like an old time place, and it's a brand new place. But we were going for dinner at this place, and I was with some people, and I wasn't really sure where we were going. I just knew we were going for dinner, and I go up with them, and we go, I don't know, a couple levels up to some place. We're kind of walking through almost like a retail area, kind of some shops. There's a pawn shop in there, which is weird for there to be a pawn shop in Cosmopolitan. But we walk in, they're like, hey, let's go in this pawn shop real fast. And I'm like, all right. So we walk by, and there's all these cases with watches and everything, and you go, interesting. We keep walking, and we get to the very end of the case of the watches, and this door opens up, and we walk through this door, and we walk into this banging restaurant that is hidden. I was like, where are we? What is this? They're like, this is where we're having dinner. I'm like, you have to go through the back of a pawn shop to get there? Like, yeah. And you go into it, and it's just like the most done up place, like a total hidden away restaurant. And then we just had a great dinner. And I thought, oh my God, you would never know it was there. So every now and then they'll let you discover one of these places. Now, they could have made probably more money with this place if they put a big sign out front, but I think it's better that someone has to kind of discover a hidden jewel, make it their own. And then it's, I don't know, then they go home with a story.
Yeah, no, that's great. I enjoy that stuff. And we found a couple like that too. We found a 90s bar in the back of this pizza place. Secret door. Got to go in there. It opens at 4:00. You go walk in there, and it's all 90s stuff. Everything, all the 90s music, all 90s toys, the 90s furniture. It's all in there. It's like I just stepped back in 1994. It is so cool. All right, let's finish off here. I have a note on here because recently, Charlie, the MK Ultra files, what we've talked about for years, and got called conspiracy theorists about it. even by loved ones. They just came out and released a whole bunch of MK Ultra information. Now, why they did this, I don't know, because we already have known about the church hearings, the House church hearings or something from like 1974. We believe that they never stopped doing MK Ultra, even though they were spanked on the hand a little bit for it, and they probably renamed it, and just it's still going. It never ends. They might use different technology now, but what are your thoughts, and why would they release the MK Ultra stuff now? It's crazy.
Yeah, well, you're right. It's a real thing. They almost got away with it because they destroyed the majority of the MK Ultra files got destroyed. The only reason why people know about them at all was because some case of files got accidentally left in a room, and I don't know. It was from all accounts like sheer luck that anything survived because they had ordered the destruction of the evidence of what they were doing. Because what they were doing was massively illegal,
Yeah.
but it was immoral on top of that. I mean, they were mind controlling people.
Yeah.
They were pushing people into the edge of psychosis. They were controlling people with sound, chemicals, drugs, vibrations. They were uh, sleep deprivation, extreme temperatures. I mean, they were torturing people. That's what they were
Mhm.
doing, and this was state sanctioned. This was being financed at the highest levels by the American government, and these were ideas that were been brought over by the Nazi scientists during Operation Paperclip. I mean, this had been something that was going on for a long time. So some of this information was accumulated in the aftermath of World War II, and then really put into effect in the 60s and 50s, 60s, and 70s, and then everything kind of goes away. But as you said, it never stopped. I mean,
Right.
there's no reason why you would stop. You're trying to create Manchurian candidates who can be assassination agents for you, and you might have actually gotten a couple of them, with Sirhan and John Hinckley and some of these people who are, um, you know, kind of off their rocker. They all show signs of MK Ultra. Unabomber was involved in the
Manson.
process.
Manson, yeah.
Manson was involved in it, and then you start to go, all right, well, wait a second. There's like a weird blurring between like the 60s culture
Yeah.
and these experiments because you know that the CIA was involved in acid, the LSD experiment, spreading that around. You know they were working with the Grateful Dead, and they were working with Timothy Leary, and they were working with um, all Ken Kesey and this and Aldous Huxley, who's a transhumanist, and so they're working with the worst kind of people on altering society. And so we have to really ask ourselves how much of that 1960 Summer of Love, 1969 counterculture San Francisco, how much of that was authentic and how much of it was crafted by the intelligence agencies with the help of their scientists and what was happening there. And so they created a sort of a revolution, a semi-revolution, and then managed it with all the bands that were involved in it too. I don't
Yeah.
know if you how far down that rabbit hole you guys go, but like with the Birds, the people
Mamas and
who are
Papas. Yeah, all them.
David Crosby is involved in Mamas and Papas,
Doors.
and
Doors.
Frank Zappa and all that whole
Military.
crew.
Yeah.
Yeah, and boy, did there's a facility. It's kind of off the topic, but maybe it's sort of relevant, I guess. There's a facility called Lookout Mountain there in the canyons,
Yes.
and
It's behind them houses up
it's
there.
a well, Jared Leto bought it.
Yeah.
He owns it now. He paid $5 million for it. It's on an acre and a half, and and that is the place where they filmed the videos that we all now know, everybody now recognizes them, of the nuclear blasts in the 40s, 40s, 50s, whatever it is, when you see over the years, not just, the house getting stripped, like the blast goes off and the
Oh
wind
yeah,
goes
yep.
through and it rips the house and everyone always asks, well, how did they get the camera in there? All of those explosions were filmed at Lookout Mountain. They were filmed there. And that's why when the Chili Peppers sing about space may be the final frontier, but it's filmed in a Hollywood basement, that's what they're talking about. They're talking about Lookout Mountain because Lookout Mountain had been rumored as the place where they filmed the moon landing.
Yep.
So,
That is awesome.
like,
We have touched on that, Outcast, with what's when we did that with that book, the Secrets of the Canyon, I forgot that.
Yeah, Strange Ways in the Canyon.
Yes.
The
Remember the
Dave
house is
McGowan?
tucked in there? Yeah, Dave McGowan. That's it. Yep, that's the one. Yeah, Lookout Mountain's a good one. Outcast, what's your thoughts?
Charlie, if I may ask you a question about MK Ultra and or the CIA being involved with bands. I've never seen anybody else say this. It's a gut feeling I have. I've said it on the show before. I'm going to say it again. I got a really strange suspicion that the Beatles were at least a MI6, if not CIA operation. And the reason I say that is I think it's almost statistically impossible for one band to have that many earworm hits, one after another consecutively. And in the course of their short 10-year span, they managed to get clean-cut boys of the 1950s to grow their hair out. They ushered in the hippie revolution, and they also introduced Eastern mysticism and the drug culture, all within the span of this hit machine. There's a movie called Under Crystal Lake, I believe, and it has lots of little clues in it. And at one point, he wanders into this house, this mansion, and there's this grizzled old man sitting at a piano, and he's claiming that he wrote this hit, and then he goes on to another one, and then this hit, and this hit. It's every major hit that you've ever heard, and I think it's a definite nod to the truth. Have you heard anything like that? Do you have any info to back me up on this? Because it's a really strong gut feeling I have about the Beatles. Do you have any thoughts on it?
Yeah, well, they're a Tavistock production.
Yep.
Yeah, Tavistock is the culture factory of the UK. I mean, it's based in the UK, but it's they're a lot like Hollywood. Their culture gets exported everywhere. I mean, they're a bit of an empire as well. So like, it might be British propaganda, but if it's the Beatles to create it, but the Beatles went everywhere, so it's really global propaganda at that point. But yeah, the Beatles were a fabrication. There's a lot of stories of Billy Shears. There's a lot of questions about the car accident with Paul McCartney. There's a lot of, Ringo doesn't know how to play the drums. That's always been kind of a problem. But
Evan here mentions that Sgt. Pepper's was released 20 years after the death of Aleister Crowley, who Crowley is on the album cover. I thought that's a great point.
He's on the album cover. There's a lot of if you listen to the end of that song there's a part where he says I buried Paul. There's a lot of nonsense going on there with the Beatles, and they were definitely ops. And I don't get me wrong, I love the music, I love the whole idea of it, but yeah, they were culture drivers, and they, like you said, they did start with short hair and became long hair, and that legendary Beatles invade America landing at JFK and all the girls meeting them on the tarmac, that was 100% staged. That was a PR, that was a public relations event. They hired all of the girls to be there and to do all of that, and that was 100% fake. Now,
did not know that.
I have a marketing degree, right? So a lot of things are fake. Advertising's fake. They're trying to get you to believe something that isn't true yet. They want it to be true, and maybe it will be true. Like the Beatles are going to be huge and everybody loves their music. But in order for us to do that, sometimes you need a laugh track to remind the audience when to laugh. Sometimes we need screaming girls at the airport to set the tone that this is a big deal. And then, yeah, the music's good. Like, it doesn't work if the music's garbage, but the combination, the push, and and maybe if you're just thinking about Hollywood and the music industry back in the 60s, you don't really think too much of it. But in retrospect now, after you know how dark the Hollywood, the one eye symbolism, the pyramid symbolism, all the stuff that the rap music and the videos and everything that they're signaling to one another, it's a dark industry run by
Yeah.
the worst people on the planet. There's and so there's a darkness in that industry, and you then start to ask, has it always been there? And I think it always has. I
Yeah.
think that we just see it a little clearer now. But your intuition about the Beatles is spot on. You can't be that big of a success without a little bit of help. And so if you're getting help to be that big, then the question is kind of like, why? Why am I getting help? Why do you want me to be big? Do you need me for something? Am I going to be changing people's minds? And yeah, and in a 10-year period, the Beatles went from, I want to hold your hand and like four guys in suits with short haircuts to, dropping acid on an ashram in India, talking about how, peace, love, and happiness is the only way, and then they're making albums with Yoko where she's screaming like a dolphin.
Annoying.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
So annoying. Yeah.
Like, oh
That
no.
you said, Tavistock, and they're doing their, culture pushing. And today I'm going to equate that with something that's going on right now. When you think about what we've been hearing just in the last week or so, it's the overwhelming mountain of evidence, Outcast, against Tyler Robinson. It's just an overwhelming mountain of evidence. And then they show you a blurry picture of something that you don't know who it is. There he is right there, the
Yeah,
one
there
eye
you go.
symbolism.
Yeah, it's
I
there.
don't know.
Unfortunately.
It's what is it? The trick is the trick of the dark one. It's making you believe something that's really not happening, right? And it's like you said, it's changing the culture. It's guiding the culture in certain ways, and I don't think it was ever by accident. I think it's always been there
No.
ever since they figured out, how important print is and how important radio became and how important media or television became. Go back to the 1938, 39, when the War of the Worlds broadcasted on the radio and everybody lost their minds. That was CBS. CBS knew what they were doing.
Well, that was
Jesse,
a dry run. I mean,
Huh?
You mentioned your conversation with your waiter made me think of this, the Bolshevik question. Even back then, the power of print was so important. They had a 70% illiterate population back in the World War One in that era. So the messaging needed to be really simple, like a fist and then three words like stand brotherhood now or something, I mean, like it had to be very easy for people to remember. So in some respects, like nothing has changed
Right.
because we have a new population that's illiterate in maybe not that they can't read, but they can't understand. They can't learn. They can't comprehend. So maybe it's sort of like not being able to. So you have to keep the messaging very simple, like 1, 2, 3. Stand with Ukraine,
Yeah.
whatever.
Right.
Insert
Yeah.
safe but effective,
Stay home, stay safe, all this nonsense,
Stay home, stay safe. Stay Safe was created by the Nudge Unit. That's a group out of the United Kingdom, which
yeah.
is a psychological development, a group that was a psych warfare unit. They're the ones
Wow.
that came up with that. Stay home, save the NHS. That was their slogan that everyone started repeating over and over again. And the worst part about this is the most frustrating part. The worst part about all of this is that their tactics work.
Yeah, they do.
You
It's
know, they,
Yep.
they work for so many people. They work. It, they're gonna keep doing it because
Mhm.
they work.
It,
And so, like, a part of like I don't know, 80% of my frustration is with them for doing these ops, and 20% of my frustration is with the general public for falling into them, for not recognizing the lies that they're being told, the scams that they're being run through. I mean, you want to shake someone and just go like if you took a shot because Bill De Blasio told you you would get a cheeseburger in the aftermath of that, then you deserve, frankly, anything that happens to you. Like, you talk about having no respect. So the part of me is like, I blame these people for creating horrible situations for us, but I also blame the people for allowing it to happen.
Yeah. Outcast, I'm sorry, cut you off there. Go ahead.
No, I'm good. I'm good. I feel like no, I'm good. You stay on your agenda, Jesse, because I'll go all over the place if you let me.
Well, I feel like we've kept Charlie long enough here. We could do this all night, Charlie. It's back and forth with all this stuff. It's so fun to go over with somebody that has, the depth of knowledge and research that you've done. It's just it's fun to listen to your shows. You talked about that unit. Was it Unit 51? Is that what it was? Or the nudge unit? It was the nudge unit. So
yeah,
I suggest you guys go to Macroaggressions podcast. Go check it out. He's got one called the Nudge Unit. Oh, it's so good. And it's good. When I was listening to that whole Nudge Unit episode, I was like, oh yeah, I know what this is about. I didn't know that it was connected to this thing, but it makes sense that it is. So you'll all along the whole way, it's like, oh, I remember that. And why was it connected? Oh, Charlie puts it together right there. You understand? It's like you're drawing a connection of dots between things that have happened in the past and why they're happening. And just like you said, psych warfare, it's crazy how they can easily manipulate the mind and get us to believe things that are just so out of it. It's just noise. It's just noise, you guys. You know what's not noise? Walking around out there, throwing out, going fishing, walking the dog, changing the chicken's water. That's not noise. That's the real thing. And it's I think we have to turn off. We just have to turn off so many things to get away from the noise. I'm rambling right now, but I want you guys to take it away. Outcast, any final thoughts for Charlie tonight? Oh, it looks like he's frozen.
Right. Charlie,
you
are so easy to talk to.
Yeah.
Oh, can you?
No, you're good.
Am I
you're
back?
Good. Yep.
Okay. Charlie. Okay. Charlie, you are so easy to talk to, and you're a wealth of information. You break down information in a way that's very digestible and easy to understand. I really appreciate you, brother. You are a real gem, and we're grateful to have you in this fight with us. The book, I hope the book goes far and wide, and people read it and get a better understanding of the battle we're in. I love that you were able to bring to the surface that there are solutions that are out there. As long as we can break free from the enslavement that they've put us under, which could be an enslavement of our health, which affects our minds. If we can break free of them, we can set a new tone for everything. There are solutions. I love hearing that. We just need to get everybody to wake up and step out of the system that they're trying to ensnare us with. I tend to think, Charlie, I don't know about you, that they know they're going to lose this battle, and that's why they're so desperate to work as fast as possible. But anyways, regardless, Charlie, thank you for coming on our humble little show. Sorry about the technical glitches. Please come on again. We really do appreciate you, brother. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys. I've got a new book coming out September 11th, the 25th anniversary of September 11th. It's actually not about September 11th. It's about eugenics, which is the reason why I'm on such a heater about everything that has to do with depopulation. And of course, the Rockefellers were behind that. So when that book comes out in September, we'll plan something. I'll come back on after that. We'll get into that.
Yeah,
we'll get weird again.
That's
awesome.
As we do.
Yeah, that sounds awesome to me, you guys. Listen, go down there and check out all the stuff that I have. I have chart. I'm getting an echo again. I'm getting Charlie's description down below. All his links. Go to activistpost.com. That's his news curator. Go check that out, you guys. It's really good. And don't forget Macroaggressions podcast. Check it out tomorrow while you're at work. All right, listen to it. Charlie, thank you so much, brother. We appreciate you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Stay dangerous. Have a great night. Oh, Outcast. I'm so glad we were able to get that that interview in. It's
man, when things go haywire like that, it's really distressing. But you always keep your calm and get it done. So Jesse, hats off to you, dude. You're a trooper. That type of stuff just freaks me out, man. It's just too much to try to diagnose. But you did it.
Wow.
And Charlie's a gem, and we got to have a good conversation with him, so it's awesome.
Well, thank you for doing that. But listen, it wasn't easy for me. Things were crazy, and it's not right. I eventually figured out that the channel that we broadcast on YouTube, it's for some reason, this is episode 278. Well, when we did the restart and came back, it's live right now on episode 184. So I don't know if it's rewriting our old episode 184. I don't know what it's doing, but it's crazy. So anybody out there on the YouTube and you're watching, it's going to look like you're watching something that's episode 184. Well, it's not. That's not what I don't know. I don't understand it. Okay.
I thought I saw that and I was like, what is that all about? It's so weird.
Yeah, it happened on the restart. So I don't know how that happened either. And I tried to change it, but I can't.
Who knew that Glitchy Mitch was contagious?
Yeah. Shelly Pollack says, really enjoyed Charlie tonight. Yeah, that's good. That was the second time he's been on. Last year he was on September, I believe, or I can actually look. If you guys want to look, a year ago, I believe it was a year ago. Let's see what we've got. Charlie Robinson, he was also on 230, episode 230, back in October. It was Orchestrated Chaos. So you guys might want to check that out. That was a good one too. Wait. No, that was Charlie Kirk.
Oh,
Charlie. All right, here it is, June. So June 9th, 2025, episode 211. That's the Octopus of Global Control. Talking about psychological operations, LA riots, and social engineering. So go check that out. A lot of people like that one. It looks like there were some really good, strong numbers on that. Episode 211 with Charlie Robinson, too. So I know for sure that there's still something not right here. I'm hearing something weird. I don't know what it is.
Well, I don't hear it on you, but earlier I heard like a delay or a weird echo when you were trying to talk earlier, but it's gone now from my end.
I'm not sure what's happening here, but we rolled with it. And what's going to be crazy for me is there's going to be, like, I'll let this audio go and maybe I'll flip it and go and put it back on 278. I don't know how we got to 184, but it's playing at 184. I don't get it, but it's the audio. The audio is going to be goofy because I never stopped recording the audio. So it's got all that glitchiness in the beginning and it's got that gap where I had to restart. So at least with the audio, when I'm going to go in tonight, which we're going to have to end quick because I got to fix that. I'll cut all that out for the audio and it'll be very less glitchy. So you'll see it's going to be a quicker show on audio for the people who will listen tomorrow. And a software update just popped up on the laptop. So it's crazy, Outcast. It's never ending. To me, I don't sound proper here. I don't sound like myself. So I don't know what it is, but we'll take it.
From my end, you sound perfect.
All right. Well, on the list tonight, we were going to talk about Mitch McConnell and Lindsey Graham. And let me see what else. I had Las Vegas, the Sphere, the heat, the homelessness, the origins of the city, the underground tunnel aqueduct system, because I found it, and it's really crazy on there. It goes all the way through the city. There's people that live in there. Dead people get washed out when it floods.
I've heard about that. Yeah.
Oh boy. Well, the aqueduct, one of them lets loose right there at Winnick Avenue, real close to where our place was at, and so every day when we get out and we walk right past it. Now it's got a fence, a tall fence on it. And then there's a gate to go down in there, but you can tell when it fills up, you have a river, you have a big raging river. Well, right now there is so much garbage and old shoes and old luggage and urine and bottles and plastic. And it goes up into the road and it's wide. I could drive my truck 2-3 lanes in there and it goes up underneath all the, I don't know if it goes all the way up into the hotels that are, a couple blocks away, but it goes up and you can see it and it's deep. I watched the guy on YouTube, Peter, what's his name? Peter Santelli, something like that. And he went to the opening, the same opening that I was at. He was there, I don't know, a couple years ago or something. Joe Bones band says over 5,000 people live down there. Yeah. And I remember a lot of them got, were dead. There's a lot of dead ones in there too. They get washed out every now and then when the rain comes through and it floods. Remember that flash flood, a year ago? I talked to some locals about that. And I don't know what's going on here. NWO updates, New World Order updates. Yeah. Anyway, I talked to some locals about that, and they said, yeah, it's bad up there. You don't want to go be caught anywhere near up there. The police won't even go all the way in there. It's crazy. He says, but when it does flood every few years, all that stuff washes out. Well, there was plenty of stuff washed out where I'm seeing old shopping carts are down there, Outcast, old plastic bags full of stuff. You see luggage down there, shoes, just the grossest things, just baking in this 110 degree heat down in there. It's wild. It smells like urine and stuff.
I'm not surprised because I heard many, many years ago that you can buy property around Las Vegas, beautiful properties, for relatively cheap because there's such a high level of suicides in these places. So people go there, their dream is to live in Vegas and and then they lose everything and then they go kill themselves. Well, for those who didn't kill themselves, but they've lost everything, where do they go? They go to the sewer. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just thinking out loud here, but I mean, that's that's where my brain goes with that.
Yeah. The Mitch McConnell thing that I wanted to talk about was, do you remember now it's my belief right now that they're trying to keep Mitch McConnell alive on paper without actually showing him. The picture they got busted showing of him the other day from 2023, trying to say it's him right there in 2026. It's the exact same picture. So that's what I'm saying. It's not real. It's garbage. It's fake. I think they're doing to him what they did to Ruth Bader Ginsburg and to Dianne Feinstein and probably a whole host of other people. They're trying to keep them alive, especially with Mitch McConnell here. If they can listen, if he's quote quote dead right now before August, we have that primary in August 8th, I believe, for Kentucky down there. If they can keep him quote unquote alive on paper, then that means there's going to be an election. But if he's dead now, but they're not saying it, think about that, Outcast, because I think they need to keep Massey out. And if they keep this hush hush and just say, no, he's resting and all this stuff, I don't believe he's probably dead, but they're trying to keep him alive, right? They can keep Massey out. Now, if Massey, they're very scared of Massey, especially if he gets it into the Senate, because if he gets into the Senate, he's going to be way more of a thorn in the side than he was in the House, right?
Yep.
So I don't know.
I agree with you. Yeah. If they announce that Mitch is dead, then they have a special election and Massey's got a loophole to get in. Not a loophole, but an opportunity to get in. And then the neighbors who saw Mitch McConnell being carried out on a stretcher said that he looked dead. They weren't in a hurry to get him in the ambulance. They looked like they were taking their time as if he were dead. So it wouldn't surprise me at all. Everything is such a political game that they are playing something like this. What breaks my heart about it is who's leading our country right now. Well, it's supposedly people that would like America First candidates like Massey, but they don't like the fact that Massey is not a Israel First type candidate.
Yep.
They just spent millions trying to keep him from getting on the ballot. So they're going to fight, viciously. Let's talk, speaking of, Christian Zionists, I mean, Lindsey Graham, I mean, there's so many quotes from him. I mean, he was such a vicious warmonger. This is the team that wants to make sure that Mitch stays quote unquote alive long enough so they can see it through, so they can keep Massey out. It's just
a long game.
It's diabolical, though. I mean, it's like, please, can we just have some honesty in our government for once? But nope.
No, you get no honesty. Yep, you get no honesty. Is what I'm saying. But you remember, there was something that happened to Lindsey Graham. He was a big time hater. He was a never Trumper, and then he switched and he became a Trumper. And then he started doing things. He was always in the grave with John McCain. Remember, he was the warmonger, the neocon, kind of like what you were saying. But all of a sudden, at some point, he kind of switched over, and now he's kind of if he is dead, which he probably is, but these big neocons, I just don't like them. They're bad for the country. They're bad for any kind of relations, because they always, like you said, they always want to fight. They always want to kill. They always want to control. But yet they're controlled. They're why do they have dual citizenship with Indonesia? I guess it's not Indonesia, is it? Oh, it's Thailand. They have dual citizenship with Thailand, don't they? Oh, no, it's Micronesia. They have dual citizenship with Micronesia. So why? You know what I'm saying? It's like, well, look at Joe Bones. He says, did Lindsay die in Kyiv and they staged his death afterwards? Well, was he poisoned?
That's what I think.
Was he poisoned?
No, I think he was. I think he might have been killed in a drone strike because they blew up the factory he was in that day.
Mm-hmm.
But they claim that he wasn't there when it got bombed.
Yeah. Now, any quote conspiracy theory or thought right now is that's just how it's going to be left. We're never going to get to the bottom of it. Was he taken out by somebody? Yeah, probably. So it's the game. Outcast, this is a chess game. The pieces are active. Some of these pieces might be moving on their own, but I can tell you, I'll say 99% of these pieces are being moved, and we won't see it. We won't understand it. It's all deeper state than what we can even try to comprehend.
Yeah, it's sketchy. I know, but Lindsey Graham did not look like the type of person that was going to go down from a sudden illness. I mean, that's some sudden illness. He died in from speaking in Ukraine and warmongering over there, and then to dead was like a blink of an eye. I mean, it was like,
I've got the video of him the day before when he was talking. He looked fine, healthy, and everything. Then there's other things flying around too, that he just got his COVID booster update 2 weeks ago. Don't know if that's true or not, but speaking of that, have you seen? Well, you want to finish that off?
Well, I just want to say this: we if Lindsey, let's say Lindsey Graham was killed in a drone strike by Russia in Ukraine, that could be grounds for us to go to war, which we can't. I don't think we can do. We've used up all of our high tech weaponry in Iraq, and we are in no position to go to war with Russia. And Russia knows it, which is kind of funny that they would do it. It's kind of like, what are you going to do? Huh? You going to start something? Because they know that we're taxed in this regard. So the plot thickens. Any way you look at it, it's pretty interesting. I'm sorry, you were going to move on to the next subject, Jesse. What were you saying?
Well, I was just going to say that, and I think you're right there. Yeah, for sure. Who knows? Maybe they're using this Lindsay thing to blame it on somebody else, like Russia. You know what I mean? Because again, we can't go against them right now. There's no way. It says Russia is the master of assassination. They probably had a blast close to him and poisoned his coffee. Well, guess who else is also master of assassinations? Us. CIA, Mossad.
Yeah.
MI6. Okay, all that it's this whole deep state, the Five Eyes thing. Yeah, I believe that. So we're all part of this whole thing. I mean, when I say we, I don't mean us. None of us out here. But they're calling it an aortic dissection. Kind of like what your brother had.
Yep. That would take you out pretty quick. That'll kill you. That'll drop you.
Biffermac. Yeah. So
but don't forget, there's direct energy weapons. There's heart attack guns. They have all this stuff.
Guns, yeah, all that's. We just talked about the frequency guns the other day.
Yes.
What did we talk about? That was forbidden tech. The energy weapons. What was that? Hold on, let me check and see, because we had an episode.
We had the guy that with the former police chief that they found was finding. He was talking about all the energy weapons.
Jesse Beltran, weaponized frequencies.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, people love that show. That was in June, episode 275. Yeah, bioweapon jabs, Havana syndrome stuff, the voice to skull, their directed energy weapons. Project Artichoke. It's all part of that stuff. So that's where we're at, Outcast. So let me see. So we did Lindsey Graham stuff. Yeah, the Tyler Robinson stuff is crazy right now. I'm seeing a bunch of, I'll say quote normies, people who only see one side of the story and know one side of the story, which is the Fed slop side. That's on TV. That's on Fox News and probably everywhere else. And then you got these right-wing influencers who are all connected to TPUSA, all shouting the same thing. That's why I brought up that overwhelming mountain of evidence Do you know what their overwhelming mountain of evidence is? It's a little tiny blob, a couple pixels tall, of some movement way down there on a building that's out of sight, and you can't. The Patty film from 1967 is better than that.
Dude,
you get all these right-wing influencers just lying about it. Go ahead.
I've got a buddy who is a former guest on our show who I love. I do. But man, he is all over this concept that Tucker and Candace and Ian Carroll are all bad, naughty, bad people. and anybody that supports them is not a Christian. And how dare they ask these questions? And I'm like, dude, it is not, it does, you can't question my faith for asking questions. I'm sorry. You just can't.
Yeah.
I'm not buying this. And in the latest to jump on the bandwagon anti of Tucker and Candace and Ian Carroll is Nate. Is it Nate Fuentes?
Nick Fuentes.
Nick Fuentes. Thank you, Nick. Nick Fuentes is jumping on the bandwagon. Oh, shame on you, Candace Owens, and shame on you, Tucker Carlson. And I'm thinking something doesn't smell right with this, man. Because listen, I'm willing to admit that Tucker, Candace, they all have sketchy connections, and it all might be Fed slop, but I'm still finding their content compelling, and they're asking questions that nobody else will. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand how you can't even consider what they're saying. I find them very interesting to listen to. I
do too. It's really good. It's way more information that I can see that's they don't want to talk about. You know, when I say they, the mainstream media does not want to talk about it. Backpedaling like he wasn't steering the boat. Nick Fuentes.
And then Nick Fedtez. 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 I like I'm going to use that. That's good.
That's funny. You know what is the craziest thing about this is all these people who are infighting about this right now, they're all quote unquote right-wing people, right? People that we used to listen to and respect and all this stuff. I don't know about respect, but at least listen to. Now I take them as a complete joke because I know they took the money from TPUSA or some Fed narrative stuff or some coercion, who knows? But the evidence the other way is way, way overwhelming, more overwhelming than anything that they brought forward in this case. Like the quote bullet fragments that they found in Charlie's neck. They don't even match a 308 or a 30-06, which is .308. I have both guns, and they're both the same diameter guns. The stuff that they found in his neck that probably somebody shoved in there and then pulled out later and said, "Look, I found this in his neck." It's not even from a 30-06, 30 caliber, which is a .308. It's crazy, man.
Well, I mean, like I've said to my friend before too about the same topic. I'm like, if you can admit to me that a 30-06 would take his neck off, pretty much, would just vaporize his neck.
Elephant gun. It's an elk and moose gun. Yes.
If you are telling me that that's what shot him, or I mean, let's say you can admit that one thing is off, the whole thing falls apart. And I'm sorry, Tyler Robinson isn't the type of person that could make that shot from that distance. He's not the type of person, he's too young that I think they could assemble a gun on a rooftop and make the sight work, which would be difficult, then disassemble the gun and then reassemble the gun later. It's stupidity. It's
and then
everything else comes into question after that. To me, everything comes into question.
And you can also throw in all the time stamps, all the time stamps, being at the restaurant, eating steak down there at the Cowboy Steakhouse, all the times overlap and everything. And do these guys do not sound like gay lovers to me. They don't sound gay at all to me. They don't act gay. We all have friends that are gay, and we know that because you could see it.
And their text messages don't sound like how young people communicate.
Not at all.
And some of the text messages were coming through while he was in custody. So
it's all messed up. But none of this stuff is being brought up in the hearing. And I understand that because it's just a preliminary hearing to see if they're going to go ahead and go forward with the testimony or the trial, which apparently they are. My biggest fear, because to me, Tyler Robinson did not pull a trigger. To me, I don't think Charlie got hit by a gun anyway. Okay, there was no 30-06. All right, this is just my opinion. Okay, I believe that they needed Tyler Robinson was supposed to die that day. Then all this stuff would work. But with him turning himself in, now turning yourself in does not mean that you said I'm guilty and I did it. That means I just turned myself in. His family has never said that he did it. They never confessed. He never confessed to anything. He just turned himself in, which is the smart thing to do, because if you're running around town and you have police and FBI and whoever looking for you, they know that they need to take you out. So the safest place for you to be is in a jail cell. So what they do, they called up the family friend who was a retired cop and said, I need to turn myself in. Keep me safe, please. Safer than Jeffrey Epstein in a jail cell, right? So it's probably the smartest thing to do, because now that throws off the timelines of everything. So they're going to have a hard time. I just hope the defense is smart enough and they're listening to the right people and start going up and down timelines and things, because there is so much that does not make sense. The timelines, thank you, music lover. The timelines do not line up at all. They're all messed up. But, the Fed slop is just going to keep on trying to shoot it, shove it down people's throats. And then I have friends who believe it, and they're saying, oh, my gosh, he's so guilty. He's so guilty.
I know. I've heard
he has no idea about this real mountain of evidence on the other side. They have because they heard that Candace Owens is a demon. Baron Coleman is a demon, right? That's what they heard, so they won't listen to them. Well, I'm going to ask you guys, if you consider yourself red pill enough.
Who attacks a widow?
Right. the widow. How's she say it? The widow. The widow. Yeah, the prego now. But yeah, the widow. It's crazy, you guys. It's so they don't want us out here talking about that. They can't stand it. So you got factions of the right fighting against other factions of the right. It's funny, man. It's crazy. So my biggest thing with Tyler Robinson right now is the feds need him dead. They need him dead. He needs to stay alive. This trial is probably going to take 18 months to get here and go through. That's a long time. He's got to stay alive somehow. Somebody's got to look out for him. That's my biggest thing. I pray this dude stays alive, and I pray that the defense listens to other people's podcasts here and there. I understand if they won't, because they're trying to create their own, their own argument against. But there's some things that they might be missing. And if you're not listening to everything and getting all these clues, and, for somebody from the outside looking in that's not up on what's going on the other side of this, what Tyler and Candace and Barron and all these other influencers that are out there finding and gathering, and all the tips that are coming in, if they're not listening to this stuff, they have no clue of what's really going on behind there. And I'm just asking yourself, you red pilled yourself enough to get to 2026, 2024, 2020, whatever it was. I'm asking you guys, red pill yourself some more on this right here, on this Tyler Robinson thing. It's deep. It's deep. But stay alive, Tyler. Somebody keep him alive, because they need him dead. If he's dead, everything works. Outcast, let's get some. Let me see. Hang on. Evan Boot Boy says, if it's a 30-06 like the rifle they found, it's not going to stay in his neck, even if it's. Well, that's the whole thing. It wasn't. They didn't find a 30-06. That 30-06 is. You don't need anything bigger than that in the United States to hunt in North America. That's the biggest round you need. You pick that thing up and shoot, man. It hurts. I've got one. I've got a 308. I've got all these things here, man. And that one, I've got one that's a little bit bigger gun than that. It's a 7mm or 8mm, I believe. I was gonna say 700 or 7 Win Mag, but it's 8mm. I've got. I can't shoot that in Michigan because it's a long range gun for big game. Okay, Outcast. That's the only other, the only more common round that I can think of bigger than the 30-06. And you don't need anything bigger. That's a World War I round that's been around for 60 years for military. It's an enormous round. Anybody that shoots knows that. You can't get bigger. And if you hit something with it, parts are coming off. Have you seen a deer hit with a 30-06? No. Holy smokes. That's why I don't use them, because it kind of blows the meat. I don't want the meat that destroyed when I'm cleaning the deer. So 30-06, that's just too much firepower. I'm good with any 30 caliber that's a little smaller. That's going a little bit, not with that much firepower behind it. I like that 30-06. It's a military weapon. Around. But anyway, all right, that's enough. Let's go on with some final thoughts, Outcast. We gotta get going.
Final thoughts?
Yeah.
I'll make this brief. Because we were talking about, the health of our bodies being and the health of our minds and our spiritual connectedness, I just was going to drop a few scriptures here on health from the Bible. Exodus 15:26, saying, if you will diligently listen to the voice of the Lord your God and do that which is right in his eyes and give ear to his commandments and keep all his statutes, I will put none of the diseases on you I put on the Egyptians, for I am the Lord your healer. Exodus 23:25, you shall serve the Lord your God, and he will bless your bread and your water, and I will take sickness away from among you. Proverbs 3:7-8, be not wise in your own eyes, fear the Lord and turn away from evil. It will be healing to your flesh and refreshment to your bones. 1 Corinthians, so whether you eat or drink or whatever you do, do it to the glory of God. Also, the last one I want to do too here is 1 Corinthians 6:19-20. Do you not know that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit within you, whom you have from God? You are not your own, for you were bought with a price. So glorify God in your body. Just that was one of the standouts from having Charlie on, is just this, carbon 60 and different things like that. If you feel like the Lord, if you pray about it and ask for this type of wisdom and discernment, he's going to lead you towards things you could do, I think, to make your body stronger. If you live in according to God's will in your life, if you allow the Holy Spirit in and you walk in ways that are, pleasing to God, he's going to guide you towards better health. Because I think that I know God knows that our physical strength and ability, healing and all that stuff comes in tune with our spiritual nature and our ability to connect to him. That's why the elites who run the world are so utterly consumed with destroying our bodies with garbage food, spraying the skies, EMF frequencies, 5G. I mean, they're coming at us from every single angle. I mean, even these new data centers, people are saying that they're just giving off this immense noise and vibration that is making people physically and mentally ill. You can see that this attack is strong. So draw close to the Lord. This type of stuff, you see people being physically afflicted in the regards of their health.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just hypothetically, I'm not trying to pass judgment on anybody else's health, but, is it possible that this is all part of God's judgment for a nation that's turned their back on him, that has allowed culture to dictate their relationship with God? I know I did. I know I grew up in a world where, we questioned the Bible and we try to put it under the scrutiny of science, and we try to look at the resurrection and try to figure out, and then we just got further and further away from God. When we trust in what the Holy Word says and we live in it, I just feel like God just keeps making my mental health more, my mental clarity sharper, which it just seems like it's a whole big thing all connected together. So guard your heart, guard your mind, guard your health. It's all intertwined. God wants to be in communication and connection with you. But you can just see by the actions of the elites what they're trying to do. Try to do the inverse of what they're doing. If they say, the tap water's safe, don't trust it. Get a high quality filter system for your home. If they try to tell you that mainstream medicine, pharmakia, if you want to look up the definition of pharmakia, it is sorcery, alchemy, and witchcraft in the Greek. If that's where they're pushing us, then run the other direction and go holistic. That's my humble opinion. Now, granted, is there a place for hospitals? Yeah. I think if I need a surgery, I'm going to go to a hospital. If I need a heart surgery, yeah, I'll go to a hospital, but I'm not going to go there as a, how to guide my health. Right. That's between you and God and where he leads you. So just some random thoughts there. I hope that has value. I'm just kind of tying that into some of the stuff that Charlie was talking about with that carbon 60 and that kind of thing. I hope, What do you think of that, Jesse?
No, I do like that, because it seems like, nowadays there's more people that I know all around me, loved ones, family and all that have something going on. All of a sudden, we went our whole lives with not a whole lot going on at the same time, but it seems now we have a lot of friends, loved ones, family ones that all have something major happening at the same time. It's kind of scary. It is freaky. I don't know if it's frequencies. I see 313 Truth down here talking about mold, fungus. Yeah, it's spreading too. Got to keep up on your magnesium with selenium and maintain body pH. Yeah.
See what Evan says here?
Yeah, about the holistic don't know if you saw this earlier, boys. I did see it, yes, and I took a picture of it. But prayer and holistic medicine may have fully solved my leukemia scare. My last blood test came back undetectable. All glory to God. That's
Amen.
awesome.
Hallelujah.
That's awesome. I took a picture of it, Evan, and I sent it to the wife during the podcast. I don't know if you saw me do that, but because the C60 came up and you were something about that. So yeah, there's a lot. There's actually, on the plane, I have to watch something on the plane, and I came up with I found this movie called something 81. It was on Netflix. Something 81, and it's not a movie, it's a series. It has this younger cat. He in his 20s. He's kind of a techie kind of nerd kind of guy. And he was hired by this company to research these burned and lost, recovered Sony cam tapes from the 90s. So he starts taking them apart. Now the guy takes them, it takes place in New York City, but the guy who hired him takes him up into upstate New York into this facility that's out in the woods, has a big fence around it, and he starts going through it. This thing, I'm telling you, has wormholes in it, has portals, it has mold, it has it's called something 81 on Netflix. Can somebody look that up real quick? It is wild. No, it's not War Machine. It's I think all you guys would like it. I'm gonna have to look it up, you guys. Give me 1 second. I hate doing this, Outcast, because we're running so late right now. Go ahead.
And while somebody's looking that up, Evan, you keep mentioning this spike protein detox supplement and binder. Can you briefly tell us what that is? Is that something you can, or is it a long answer?
And remember, we are not trying to give out any kind of health advice and all that stuff. We are just things that we might want to do. Archive 81. That's it. Okay. Let me read this to you really quickly. An archivist. So this guy, that's what they call these guys that do these archive. He takes it apart, these tapes that are all burned, and he saves the tape. Archive 88. An archivist takes a job restoring damaged videotapes and gets pulled into the vortex of a mystery involving a missing director and a demonic cult. And it takes place in, the tapes that he finds takes place in New York City in 1994. And what is crazy, Outcast, as he's watching these things and he's in this facility by himself, supposed to be by himself. And it feels almost like Stranger Things season 1 a little bit. Yes, Archive 81. Thank you, music lover. And I think you would love it. I've only watched like 6 episodes of the thing because I was on the plane. But I'm into it now. It's crazy. There's so much stuff.
Very cool. And Evan says, wellness company, ultimate spike detox. Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Yep.
Seems like I keep running into people that want to detox from their vaccines, and I don't know what to tell them. So that's good info. Oh,
you can go to Dr. Lee Merritt, the medicalrebel.com, you guys. And she's got a whole protocol for people who want to detox from spike and all these things. That is the medicalrebel.com. 313 True says, I know this is off topic because someone discovered a giant dragon the size of a state on Google Earth. It's crazy. Yeah, we've seen that before. And they found multiple dragons that look like fossilized mountains that look like fossilized dragons and serpents and snakes. And there was one today that looked like a Nephilim. They found a lot of Nephilim, but a female Nephilim. Did you see that? Did I send that to you earlier?
I don't think so.
Oh, it's wild. I'll send it to you right now. But it looks like a female Nephilim in this mountain. If I can. Oh, here it is right here. Check that out when you get a chance to it. I'm going to send it to you and also to Music Lover and Jack Pine Savage. But look at that. Tell me if that's real or not. It's crazy. Black Dragon Canyon. Google Earth and zoom out. Yeah, I've seen that. That is awesome. There's you can see the eye and all that. I believe is that the same one that we saw before. But oh, there's so much. Maybe we'll do that on another one. The magic dragon stuff, Nephilim stuff, and all that. Go ahead.
Revelation talks about the dragon of old.
Yeah,
it's going to rear its head. So,
did you get that text I sent you? That female Nephilim?
No, let me see. And then also, if you guys been hearing about the what's it called? The Bigfoot pictures that's floating around. There's a couple new ones out, and one I'm uncertain of, and the other one I don't buy.
Okay. Well, we'll have to jump into those too. Yeah, she says that picture is not safe for work. I guess it's not if you zoom in.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah, right. But it's interesting to see. I'd like to see if it's real or not. But all right, brother, I think we've come to the end of the show. I got to go repair this audio on this other one, and it was just a mess. But I'm glad. I'm so thankful for you guys that hung in there this whole time. Whoever did, I know a bunch of you could probably dropped out and said this show sucks. Whatever, Tech Demons were messing with Outcast, and they're messing with us. So
we're under attack, that's for sure.
There are solutions to all these big issues, like we were talking with Charlie earlier. All right, let's see here. Charlie Robinson, you guys, thanks so much for having Charlie tonight. Thank you guys so much for enjoying him, and I want you guys to go check him out over at his Macro Aggressions podcast. All right, type it in your audio. It's Macro Aggressions, and you'll see his thing pop up, and it's Charlie. And go listen to some of those. He's got the room 5600 about the Rockefellers. He's got the what we talked about, the Nudge Unit, about psych warfare and all these things. It's wild. But his book right there, The Octopus of Global Control, right here, our affiliate item of the week. Please buy this book. It's really good, and it'll bring you up to date on so much stuff that we are actually living through today, right now. So listen, please leave us a 5-star rating and review if you can over on iTunes, Spotify, CastBox, Stitcher, whatever it is. We are there, and we want you to be there with us. Listen, thank you guys so much for being here with us tonight. Music Life said this was a great day. Happy Tuesday. Thank you guys. Have a good night. Yeah, listen, you guys, don't be threatened by the mainstream media mere fear campaigns, all right? Rescue those in darkness around you. Do not comply with unjust laws, mandates, or regulations, and trust your gut always, because that's God talking to you is what I'm saying. Christ is King. He's coming back. We got to be ready. God bless, and stay dangerous, brothers and sisters. Stay dangerous.